Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. It appears that my sound is working well. I did shift. Uh, my old headphones broke, and they were very different than these headphones. And these are my older headphones, and I moved back to these, and it actually affects it quite dramatically, whether the microphone's over here or the microphone's over here. So that took me a while to kind of get the hang of, but I think I have it figured out. It does put, like my other headphones, you never really had to consider. The microphone was where the microphone was. But although everybody always complained that it was super quiet, so I don't know. I think this is better, but I'm not sure. I do think my voice feels more natural. So basically, we're trying to work on this application, and I've sort of gotten myself stuck in some what we call rabbit holes. It's like I've discovered things, and then as I discover them, I start pulling on that thread, and I open another, end up pulling another thread, and it just keeps winding up. And now I'm to the point where what I'm doing is I'm kind of going through and removing any deep links to objects. Um, And the reason I'm doing that is there's two reasons. One was the original reason that got me going on this was very, very abstract, and I'm not sure that in the long run it even matters, but making memory leaks. So basically, every time you create an object that has a reference to another object, or you make anything that has a reference to an object, if you don't explicitly delete that thing that has the reference, that object doesn't go away, even if you've deleted it somewhere else. So I felt like it was a good idea to get rid of these deep references so that I could be able to what am I trying to say? So that I could figure out, so that I could be sure that I don't end up creating memory leaks. But secondarily, and more importantly, way more importantly, and I didn't realize it till afterwards, it is impossible. I believe it's absolutely impossible, or at least extraordinarily unfeasible, to like serialize something like a viz component and export it. So my export import will be a lot easier um, if I can not have any deep links, deep references to objects. Um, and that is an absolute, like, if there's one thing that I would just shut this thing down in a minute for and restart all over again, is if I get myself in a position where there's no way I can import or export, and that there's an obvious way that I could import or export, but refactoring to that other way is not feasible. So, anyways, ended up working. We ended up doing a refactor around this visualizations, and it seemed like it works, except for one issue, and that's that um, it's not redrawing the thing. See, I have two of these, but if I go, and this is in tabular layout, but if I go into this layout, I've got just one. And if we were to look in the inspector, what we'll see is that there's actually two of them, but they're both sitting at 0 left, 0 right. See, and we really, before this, what was happening is it would solve the second one and would put it at like 200 left or whatever the width was. Did all kinds of math and stuff. So I'm guessing that our issue is here. I don't know how often this gets called. Um, Set position does not appear to get called. I'm guessing when it does, I don't know if we ever even get in here. Like maybe this native element doesn't exist when the set position gets called. Um, don't know. So we're trying to figure that out. We're trying to figure out that bug. Um, so let's see, and it is 8:33, so I have like 20 minutes to play around with this. So let's hit that, add viz, add viz. So we never do get to this, and I'm guessing it's because 149 doesn't exist, or the native element doesn't exist when we get here. So let's do this again. Add viz, add viz. Okay, so we never call set position apparently. All right, I mean that's weird. Oh wait, silly rabbit. I have another project that I am working in Node, and I can set the debug on the API that way. So setting position. And then we just hit F12, go to our console. Okay, setting position has not been called. Add viz. Add viz. Okay, so setting position did in fact get called twice there, which is what we would expect, but it never got set. And we actually got in here, so the native element apparently existed. So we could just put a debug statement there, reload. Oh, wrong view. Okay, so we get in here, we do have our render child. It does have a native element. And my element, or my viz, has a left of 0. And I think this is the first one, so I think that's fine. Actually, I think if we were to look at the viz, see, it has a renderer ID of 1. I think the other one have a renderer ID of 11 or maybe 8. Um, so this has, oh, this still has a renderer ID of 1. Interesting. So got called for the exact same renderer. Okay, so over here we can see how it got caught. So it got caused by this layout thing, which goes through each visualization. So maybe a third one will come. Let me hit run. No, okay. What if I add another one, I wonder? Okay, so this is getting called over and over again. Oh, maybe not. Okay, so visualization service, get visualizations. So let's see what we get if we call that function by itself, if we get more than one visualization. Yep, so we have 3 visualizations, so we should go in there 3 times, but it kind of seems like we're getting, like it's running the same visualization over and over again, but maybe not. Sources. For each set position, bind this. And then we get ST visualization. Maybe we only get in there. Okay, so this is for viz render ID 1. And that goes to the first one. Okay, so this is for, I'm assuming this is for a different visualization. Okay, ST renderer ID. Oh, and its left is 200. So I'm guessing its native element hasn't been assigned because that looks right. Or maybe it works like on the third one. I remember seeing something a little weird yesterday. Okay, so native element does in fact exist. Okay. Is this viz 3? Left is 400. ST render. Okay, I think we're back to 1, I bet you. So that was weird. So 3, I'm wondering if it probably didn't have its visualization, its element yet. See if it ends up coming back. Okay, so I'm guessing the very first time it gets called, it doesn't have the native element on it. So it doesn't the HTML has not been rendered yet, is my guess. Add viz. Boom. Okay, does the native element exist? I guess we want to go here. Okay, so viz component is actually undefined at this point. Which is kind of wild because you can clearly see the viz component there, but it hasn't been assigned yet. Or maybe that was old. That might have been old. Okay, add viz. Okay. Run. Viz component. Okay, so viz component is undefined. Even though we can see it is there, it is undefined at this point. So that is our problem. So when we add a visualization, at some point, the viz component gets added to the ST visualization. And the ST visualization, wait a second. Okay, so this is supposed to get the viz component by visualization ID. Does it have a visual? So it does have a visualization ID. So when over here, okay, so we do want to go back to this. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's let it run itself out. Run again. Hit reload. All right, we'll add one. Step into. So we want to step into this. So our viz component dictionary is currently empty. So the dictionary never got updated. So where does the dictionary get set? I'm assuming it gets set here. So here's where we got rid of it. Apparently we had a viz. Oh, it gets passed in. So I think we were supposed to put it in here. The dictionary is this visualization's push. So I have a viz component dictionary. It looks like also, oh, I have my ST visualization. So I have two. Okay, but this only has viz components in it. Okay. So this is a dictionary of the viz components. This is the dictionary of the visualizations. Apparently I was good before, but then now I need to add it to my viz component directory. Okay, so this is visualization service.ts. So that's this guy right here. So when we go to add one, we have a visualization and we used to set it here, but now we need to actually set it to, looks like my biz. Okay, so actually I need to call that function. The set viz component visualization ID. Does this ever get called? So it looks like it gets called 3 times. Upsert, initialize existing with component. That. And, you know, historically, I've never been like a huge. I like this because it's easy to understand. I like how when you read it, you can understand easily what it does. But setting and all that, I was always like, what's the big deal? But now I'm kind of a believer. Um, and then I don't know if we need these upserts and all that anymore now, but I'm not sure. It's a visualization ID. And viz component, I think is what I call it. And I would feel better if this said ST in front of it, just to sort of differentiate it from this thing, which is just a viz. Um, so that means this one needs to be, and then this one. Visualization. So we're going to generate one. I feel like that will solve this issue. Don't know, but I feel like pretty strongly that. I mean, I can imagine, definitely imagine a reality where that fixed the problem. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of this debugger for the moment. We might need it back here in a second. Okay, yeah, it looks like that solved the issue. So basically, I removed the reference here, and apparently I was using it, and then I have other points in time where I set this component. So this is probably never, ever, ever going to be an easier time than just take a quick look and try to understand why in the world I'm doing this in other places. Okay, so that's the one I know I like. Upsert viz for component. Oh, okay. So this is when you change from one view to another, you destroy the old components. So the new components have to be created. So so yeah, that makes sense. And initialize existing with component. And I'm guessing, yeah. So it did catch, like when we did the transpiler, it did catch that, but I missed the fact that over here this was basically the equivalent. Like I was just assigning it. All I did was remove it, and everything else I had already been creating things. So I couldn't see why that. I don't know what this is position here. It doesn't look like we use it. So I'm just going to put a comment on that. That's sort of like marking it for the garbage collector. Like, oh, okay, I know that I'm going to need at some point to um, I mean, this one might need to go away, but like, let me take a couple more laps before I figure out if it needs to go away or not. Um, all right, so it looks like we're good on that. And now I'm pretty sure this breaks unit tests um, because we added like new functions, but maybe not because those functions definitely get called from existing functions. So it may not get broken. And I don't think there's a whole lot of logic in any of, yeah, all of these don't do any branching. So actually, it wouldn't surprise me if we still have 100% test. Let's see, 8:47, 8 minutes. So that wasn't bad. Fixing that bug wasn't too bad. Um, and honestly, like sitting down and coding on something for 20 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day or an hour here and there, like you're never gonna like that's very, very difficult, like skill to get is the ability to come up to speed, start working on something, and then work on it for 20, 30 minutes and then shut it down. Um, it took me like 10 years to figure that out, and I had to train that into myself. So what I used to do for like 10 years, I would literally work, had a timer, and I would only let myself work on this project that I was working on, a personal project for 5 minutes. That's it. So I had to come up to speed, do some work, and get myself in a position where I'd be able to come up to speed tomorrow in 5 minutes. And Um, I was absolutely amazed at how hard that ended up being. Um, but the thing is one thing I didn't have to deal with was this building stuff. Like it was I did that with the JavaScript Angular JS, and Angular JS literally all you had to do was pull in a library. Once you pulled in the library, everything, here we go. Once you pulled the library and you were good, um, you didn't have to do all this building and transpiling and starting servers and stuff like that. Um, okay, so we did have one fail. Interesting. Expected blank to be 100px. Hmm. So I'm wondering if this would have actually probably would have caught that bug. But anyway, so this is broken. This is always hard. Trying to figure out. So this is an animation service that's called should set the position style for visualization element. So let's go to animation service and that. And let's see, what is it? I think we can search on this. Yeah, there it is. Now that is not an easy uh, task in a lot of places. So it's saying that when I did set position mock viz, oh, I'm curious also, what's my percentage looking like? Oh, so we did not get 100%, but all right, so it's saying that in here, when I called the set position mock viz, that it did not update the style left and right. I don't really can't quite understand it. Okay, so what we want to do is the first step is we want to focus on this one only. And sometimes it'll restart itself and yeah, automatically detect, and sometimes it won't. So the nice thing about this is then it kind of reduces the console logs a lot, right? So basically, it doesn't look like we ever got into that because I don't see a console log. Maybe I'm wrong. Setting position. I will say though that like honestly, like if you're just getting started coding or you haven't been doing it a long time and you haven't learned unit tests yet, I don't know if I would learn unit tests. I don't know if it's worth it. It might be worth it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to understand these things. And okay, so we did get here, but we did not get into here. And that's because the get viz component by doesn't return anything, which makes sense because we needed to set it. We need to set this, and then it would get the viz component. Yeah, there's no, like if we say else, viz component could not be found. And since we changed the code, it seems to detect it. But if you don't change the code, if you change the test, it does not seem to detect the change. Yeah, so couldn't find it, and it's because we need to call set. We need to call this function up here and give it our mock component. I believe will fix it. Is that right? Oh, okay, so this is animation service, and the thing we need to change is inside of visualization service. So do I have a reference to visualization service? To render, oh, we need to go to the very top. Okay, so we do have a visualization service, and we injected it. So we do have access to the visualization service. So let's call that, and you call it differently than in like TypeScript. Um, so that is a little bit confusing. Let's see, Control Z, Control. Like I would have thought you'd have to write this dot visualization service, but you don't. Um, oops. Oh my gosh. What was it? Set viz component by visualization ID. And then okay, so yeah, so this is tricky because mock element. Okay, so basically I think we want to send in our visual. Do we how do we do that though? Mock viz. So it doesn't even have a visualization ID in our unit test. So st visualization viz st visualization ID. So we need to give it a visualization ID. I'll just give it a visualization ID of 1. So this is our st visualization. So we're going to give it a visualization ID of 1. And then um, we're going to give this, I believe the first thing is the visualization ID, the first argument. So I'm just going to call it 1, comma, and then the second argument is going to be our mock element. Now, unfortunately, our mock element is not right. It's not happy with this. Oh, it's supposed to be a whole viz component. Oh, okay. So we need to mock a viz component, I believe. Mock viz component is equal to this whole thing. And I think we're probably going to as unknown as viz component. So we're basically just saying they don't, and that's not supposed to be defined, it's supposed to be unknown. We're saying, don't worry about it, just go with it. Um, we're we're just forcing this to be a viz component. We know what we're doing. Um, but honestly, if you're gonna do that, make sure you actually know what you're doing. Mock viz component. Mock. Like I've definitely worked at places where that was everybody's answer, was to just force it to be whatever it was, and that was a mistake. Leads to some very, very confusing breakages. All right, so now that's passing. Let's go ahead and get rid of our FIT up here. And go ahead and get rid of our console logs. Get rid of this else because we definitely don't want to have to test the else on that. Looks like we may not have 100%. Maybe once we got rid of that else, we'll be up to 100% again. Nope. Nope. No luck. All right. What is not being tested? Probably the delete. I bet you the delete is not being tested now that I think about it. So we'll drag this over here. See, we got 2 statements not being tested. Every branch. Oh, we have 2 functions that's 160, or is that 169? That's 169. No, 1 function that's not being tested in 2 lines. So basically, we know there's a statement issue. So there it is. Our visualization. Okay, so that is not where I thought. Oh yeah, no, that is where we thought. And it's the delete. Oh man, I'm good. All right. So basically, we're going to need a function. Oh crap, I've got to go to work. Everybody, happy coding. Bye.